That's a very low-flying plane.
Yes, it is.
My room mic's picking that up.
It sounds like a miniature plane flying through the room. That was weird.
Okay.
What's the polarity on that?
Hey everybody, Resident Loser Jeremy here, and this is going to be the second video where we talk about drum phase and polarity. This is just kind of an extra video for those of you who have seen the first one. If you haven't, I'm going to link it up here. Otherwise, the video won't make a whole lot of sense. This is just a much deeper dive where Luke came into the control room after we had made the video, and he had some really good questions that led to some good conversations. I wanted to put it here rather than make one crazy, insane long video that YouTube would never recommend to anyone because it's way too long. And most of the people who are watching the first one probably wouldn't be interested in this. So if that's you, this video is probably not for you. But if you want to stick around and kind of go a little deeper on that phase trick, here we have a mostly uncut conversation. Anyway, guys, drum phase and polarity, let's go. There, 1, 2, 3, click. Did you feel it? That was the explosion.
That was it.
That was the explosion. I'm not crazy. 343. I told you.
Dude. Yeah. That was...
So we realized, once I turned the camera off, that Luke wanted to come in here and ask some of these questions. And he was asking really good questions. And I realized halfway through I should be filming that, because I imagine that's some of the questions some of you would ask too. So we're just going to do that. So showing you here, like first take, and then we'll listen to the last take. It doesn't sound bad.
Mm-hmm.
Kick kind of cuts. Everything sounds good, but... And then the last one. Like the kick just...
Yeah, you can feel
hits
it.
you in the chest.
Yeah. And so what you're trying to do is trying to get both signals to be going in the same direction.
Yeah.
And that's how you get it in phase.
So, I guess one of the things I should explain better is this kick right here. It was our second to our last take, and they are technically in phase with each other, so we're going to hear a lot more low end on this one than we would on our first one. Again, listen on good speakers, but...
Or good headphones.
But they are technically, polarity-wise, going down or negative. So, and this is where like how you've wired up your speakers really matters. So even for like at-home setups, and you're really into vinyl,
mm-hmm.
where a lot of things are modular. You have your record player. Do you have a separate amp?
I do, yeah.
So you've got your amp for your speakers and all that stuff. So ideally, if you've hooked everything up perfect, if something is positive on that vinyl, then it should come out with the speaker moving out towards you when you're listening to it.
Okay.
So there's a whole lot of variability in there, and that's why like this can be like a rabbit hole thing.
Yeah.
But in my mind, if somebody's paying for the studio time, like you want to get it right.
Yeah.
And for me, like I want to make sure that kick drum is perceived like a kick drum. Right. At least to me in the room. And you said you actually kind of preferred the sound of it where it was negative. As opposed to...
On second listen, I think I might prefer the second one. I mean, well, maybe because you explained it to me, it made more sense, so now it sounds better. You know?
Trust your gut on something. Like, there's no... This isn't like a right or wrong answer thing.
Yeah.
But, like, this is just why I'm thinking like this.
Yeah.
I want to make sure, like, just like if I'm at a live show listening to music and that kick drum hits, it's going to hit me in the chest with air. So I want to recreate that as much as possible.
Yeah, it's physically pushing air towards you.
Yeah.
So is this basically controlling the way the speaker cone moves?
Yeah.
The direction it's moving in?
Yes. And that's exactly what it is. Okay. Like, even if we go over here where it's negative, obviously the camera won't be able to see this, but if you look at the speaker right there,
mm-hmm.
and I solo the kick. You might need to look at one from the side, like it's moving pretty quick, but you can see it. You can see it flex go in. Especially if I just play this very first sample. See, it's going in and getting stuck. But if I play this one, it's going to pop out. See it jump out?
Yeah.
It's real subtle, but even to that point, like, to me, it's more about, it's not even a sound difference. They sound
essentially the same.
Yeah, they sound identical. It's just how you're catching that air.
Right.
That feels like it's sucking away from me. And this feels like it's pushing stuff at me.
So this is like really the detail work of recording stuff.
And like we said before, like this is nothing changed here. EQ didn't change. I didn't move a microphone. I didn't do anything. You're not playing any different.
Yeah.
And it feels like a totally different kick.
Yeah.
There's just so much more attitude.
Is this a process the same across all instruments?
I do it with guitars, actually. I'll have, especially when I'm like using more than one mic on a guitar cab, I'll have a guitar player like do a real quick like just so I can get a real sharp transient. Because it's super easy to see on a drum, right?
Yeah.
Like you have that point of attack and it's really clear, but on a guitar, they're typically like, especially distorted guitars, they'll typically look like bricks like that.
Oh, wow.
But if you can get somebody to real quick go like, then you can see that and make sure, like zoom in and do the exact same thing. Like one, I want to make sure they're in phase with each other and then going the direction that I want them to go. And sometimes I don't worry so much about guitars being positive, but if it's like a funk player or like jazz where there's a lot of like staccato stuff, then I like to make it go positive.
Right.
So,
interesting.
It's not like one of those things you want to be at the forefront of concern. It's just, I don't know, it's one of those little details that when somebody's paying you for, you want to make sure it's right.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And it can like those little changes.
They do make a difference.
Yeah, like this first one to the second one, not a huge difference. Not a huge difference right there, but accumulating all these little changes.
I can hear a lot of different. I feel like the second one has more air and it feels roomier and boomier and deeper, and you can feel it. Like it's a feeling thing.
It feels more true to the kit in the room.
Yeah.
Like anytime you can get the waveforms working with each other and playing nice with each other, everything's going one direction, everything's in phase, like they're just gonna flatter each other. You're not gonna get these weird phase shifty things where a kick drum sounds like it's scooped or something. Like that kick at the very last one, that sounds like the room, like it sounds like what's sitting right there, as opposed to this one. Doesn't sound bad, but that sounds like it would be right at home in a metal record, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's got that real high pitch thing.
Yeah, it does. More of a clicky kind of thing. Is this something you could do with an analog system? Like, how would you, if you were doing tape and you didn't have this software, like how do you address that problem with analog equipment?
It'd take longer.
Yeah.
You definitely do it. Like, I mean, guys were doing this for a long time. We just have the benefit of being able to see it.
Right.
So I can do it really quick. On this first take, like I was able to look and see what all I needed to do, make a lot of adjustments over here on my preamps and stuff, and do it real quick. They would be sitting at the console doing it on, using their ears, and when that's what you're used to, like those guys were really good at it.
Yeah.
And maybe they didn't get everything technically right. Not that that's the most important thing to do, but I feel like there's so much more. There's a lot more things to get wrong now because everything's digital.
Yeah.
Like, if I wasn't the one to mix a project like this, if you were just coming to do drums and then somebody was going to take it and mix it somewhere else, I don't know their process, but I can give them a clean slate to start with.
Right.
Like, if they're going to do sample replacement or if they're going to do all this, I can make sure everything's in phase and the polarity is going the way we wanted it to in the room when I give it to someone else.
Right.
So, only difference really being I have visual feedback, so I can do it a lot faster than if we were on a tape machine and having to sit there and really trust my ears and trust the room. But doing this method, although it's not perfect, like, it kind of negates having to be in an absolutely perfect room to figure it out. Like, you can see real quick, is this working or not?
Yeah.
But even when it is working, you hear a vast difference. So
Yes.
definitely one of the more nerdy things to do with drums. But
Yeah.
I feel like once I got this right, and once I started doing this a lot, I was able to do different things try different tunings because I knew this was easy and replicatable. And then I could change things on the drum set where now I had very predictable changes rather than toss a mic up and hope it sounds good. You know, that can be the difference between sounding amateur and sounding really, really pro. Too nerdy?
No, not at all. I think it's interesting. I think another question I had was, is there software that does this, or is this always a manual process?
There is software that does this.
Yeah.
I have tried it and I didn't really like it. Let's see if we can find it. I think it's Auto Align. Yeah, there you go. Auto Align.
Interesting.
I have tried this, and I've known engineers who use this, and I've done like little mix consults with people who kind of brought stuff in, or they're not happy, like just to sit down with another engineer and go through their mix and see what they like, what they don't like. A lot of people do use this because they haven't really gone through this process. And I think actually I taught myself to do this because I saw this price tag.
Yeah.
$299.
Yeah.
And that's a very low flying plane.
Yes, it is.
My room mic's picking that up.
It sounds like a miniature plane flying through the room. That was weird.
Okay.
What's the polarity on that?
But it'll listen to your drums and I guess spit out. I mean, it's been years since I've done it and it looks different now, but it's basically trying to do that with your already finished drum tones. And I mean, maybe it does a good job, but $299 for something that took us 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know it's right because we did it and it's right there. Whereas trusting a plug-in, especially when you're dealing with like time adjustment, like that can really start to get CPU intensive. For me, it's like, why? It's just too easy.
Yeah, and also, just because it's such a detail-oriented task, I just like the idea of someone doing it, you know, of a skilled engineer that knows what they're doing, going in and doing it themselves. I like the idea of that, you know.
And there are tasks where I don't mind a computer taking over in some situations, but with something like this, my drums, like kick drums and snares sell records, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And if we're being honest, like it's the most fun thing to record.
Yeah.
So I want to make sure I'm doing everything because I want to hear it right while we're recording it. I want to be as close to a finished sound while we're recording it.
Right.
Where with Auto Align, I don't know that you can actually toss it on a track while you're recording. That might get a little hairy. Too easy not to do.
Yeah.
So do it.
Do it.
Get my face. Get my face. It just likes you.
I know. Maybe if I like gave it to you.
Hand it over.
I think it's because like maybe more in the center of the frame.
Do it. Align your drums. It's too easy not to.
Yeah.
Did I say that right? It's too easy not to.
Yeah.
Ah! You got the focus again.
The camera just likes me.
Right
What
in
can I
line
say?
with you. There. Hi.
Align your drums. This is Luke Cross saying, align your drums.
Say it louder.
Align your drums.
It's been fun. It's been real. Losers, Luke and Jeremy. We'll see you in the next one. That's my thing. I do it every time. I don't know why.
Gotta end it somehow.
Call me.